time healer. Let's talk about chronic hemorrhoids, everybody's favorite topic. If you do have chronic hemorrhoids, take the time. If you don't have time right now, come back to this video, sit and watch the whole thing. I suffered from 15 years. I've been hemorrhoid free. Basically, I'll talk a little bit more about that, for about 6 years now, maybe 7. I don't know. It's been a minute. So I first got hemorrhoids when I was like 25. And for anybody else, if you're watching this, like, don't be embarrassed. Share your story. I love reading these, stories and stuff like that, especially if you used my product, Hem Hero, and it's helped. Leave it down there. I really enjoy reading a lot of that stuff. But I can tell you, after suffering 15 years, it's kind of interesting. And maybe some people have the same kind of path as me. When I first started getting hemorrhoids, especially young, I just didn't know what they were. And I just wanted it to go away. And when it went away, I'm like, God, I hope that doesn't ever come back, right? And for a lot of people with hemorrhoids, that's what happens. They go away and they do not come back. Then there's the unfortunate few of us where they start to come back. And then on top of it, they get worse and worse and worse. And I want to talk about like a little bit what's happening, the things that I did to really make things work. So the first thing is I actually had to study and figure out what a hemorrhoid was. Like, why do I keep coming back to this thing? And why are they getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse? So found out that it's just almost like a varicose vein. It's an inflamed blood vessel, right? So chronic, what happens is as it inflames and goes back down, it's doing this, through the years. So what happens is that this vein gets a little weaker. So it doesn't take as much inflammation to blow that thing up. And with it loosening, when you do get that real heavy inflammation into your system, you can be dealing with like bleeding to a point where it's actually, you gotta, I've heard horror stories of blood transfusions over hemorrhoids. And then secondly, pain, where it just feels like you're pooping out glass, right? So those are very real things that happen to people, happen to me. It wasn't until I was about 40 that I figured it out. But the one thing that I can say if you have chronic hemorrhoids is just spend the time to daily journal. Write out what's happening in your day that's gonna cause your hemorrhoids, because it's not like this one thing. It's so funny how many times I see people, it's just like, oh, if you just did this, you wouldn't have hemorrhoids. That's like just not true. Stress. I have stock traders in New York City, customers of mine. Hey, I need more hemorrhoid, man. These things are flaring up on me like a pack of, So then there's other people that, hey, if you're tall, if you're super tall, those veins they're a lot longer. It takes a lot longer to get the blood flow there. And if you are super tall, you probably deal with cold hands and feet, even when it's warm outside, just because it's harder to get the blood through there. Plus, if you sit too much, you're not getting enough exercise. One of the biggest things now is diet. I just did a video on the carnivore diet. If you didn't watch that, watch it after this one. I'd also like your thoughts on it too, because I really believe in that. But as this went on in my life with these chronic hemorrhoids and starting to understand, I'm like, oh, okay. Then I started looking at all the creams and suppositories I'm taking. I'm like, I'm screwed because I have nothing to fix me here. All I have are these things that take down inflammation and or with lidocaine, and it just numbs it, right? And even if you go to like the Big Dogs Prep H, if you go to their site or just type in, do the creams heal hemorrhoids, and they'll be like, no, that's not what this does at all. All it does is basically kind of help you until you get through them. So if you're chronic, right, and you even know if you had them, the amount of pain relief that you get from them is nominal, right? If you're having a hard time with a lot of painful poops, like that thing might take it down by 5 to 10%. Side note, once again, not a doctor, lidocaine, the stuff, or the just like the real heavy stuff that they use, Ambisol for toothaches. You put it on there before you go, it's gonna help a little bit. But so once I started, I was just trying to take out all the inflammation things, even down the stress. Like I moved out to the desert, middle of nowhere, just to, figure, I had some other stuff going on, obviously, but whatever. I was also trying to get rid of hemorrhoids. So I was looking at, okay, here's all the things that are causing inflammation. Here's the things I got to cut back on. Sugar, right? I used to like sodas and stuff, pulling in all these things, processed food, so much fast food. Started like, okay, I'm going to cook my own meal, started going carnivore. And But the one thing that I really started doing was studying, because mine were so bad. My last 6 months, it was just nonstop pain. And, after finding out that the creams and suppositories do nothing, I just felt like, what am I going to do? I don't want to. It wasn't even about the $4,000 that I didn't have at the time to pay for the procedure. It's the fact that I'm like, there's got to be a way to get rid of this thing without getting it cut out. And that's when I really started getting back and focused onto somebody that grew up in the middle of nowhere in Canada, of having aloe vera plants around, and, mom and my grandmother, we called them Nash in German, but all these different things that just came out of either a spice rack or something out of the garden, right? And I've gotten so confused over the years of just becoming dependent or reliant on looking for something called Abraxafil or something like that to help you, right? But I just started researching, and come to find out, I'm like, oh yeah, there are things that work. There are things that does not come from the pharmaceutical reps that will work. And what it ended up being was actually, it's something that was extracted out of an orange peel, and a plant that's grown right here in the US, horse chestnut seed extract, right? So I put all these things together, and that's exactly what they're supposed to do. These ingredients, one's the horse chestnut seeds, and very, very powerful anti-inflammatory, and then the hesperidin diosmin, or the things that actually help build the collagen up in your veins. So the other nice thing it does is it actually makes your whole system a lot healthier, right? It gets your vein structure through your. It's not just attacking that pinpoint of your butthole, it's going through your whole body, right? Also, my product, if you have varicose veins, it works wonders on that too, because it's kind of what it's meant to do as well. So finding out all these things about chronic hemorrhoids, and then on top of it too, it's also, well, I'm coming out with another formula now that's just basically for blood flow and everything else like that. Because those are the two things, blood pooling as well. So maybe you're like, hey, Ian, I know that my veins are fine and everything. It's like, okay, well, do you have blood pooling? What are some other things that are going on here that can help? Constipation is a monster. If you have chronic constipation because of, or hemorrhoids because you have constant constipation, look into the carnivore diet, just red meat for 2 weeks, and see if that doesn't clear it up. Harvard just did a study where they took 100 people, didn't take fiber, 100 people did take fiber, 100 people just ate red meat, and they all had constipation, obviously. Group A, that there's no change, right? Because they didn't do anything. Group B with fiber had pretty good, pretty solid, what do you call it? Just advantages, right? And then 100% of the people had a good reaction to the all meat diet, the all red meat diet. And I think a lot of it is just because it excludes everything. Plus, plants do a lot of plants, right? They have defense mechanisms, right, to make sure they don't get eaten off this planet. And also, it's not to say that there's not good plants to eat. I ate more fruit than I probably should. But bigger point is that, as we look at chronic hemorrhoids, we have to look at it from every single angle. So it's not just, okay, where's the inflammation coming from? Let me journal. All right, let me get on this carnivore diet. Let me, even if you haven't tried my product, Hem Hero, give it a shot down here somewhere. And like I said, if you are chronic, leave a comment or below. But biggest point is that if you are chronic, take it seriously. They get worse as they go on. You don't want to deal with this the rest of your life. For me, it's kind of funny. When I made my product, I made it in my kitchen. I took it for, a week, 6-7 days. Didn't work. Then I was like, oh man, I'm going to have to get a surgery. I came back and I had a big bowl left. I'm like, I'm just going to take them till they're gone. So it's 2.5, 3.5 weeks, somewhere around there. I woke up one day and there's no pain. I was like, what? This is unbelievable. Now, the nice thing is, because of the job that it did of kind of rebuilding those veins and everything, is that it made it very, very, very difficult for them to return. Now, if you watch some of my other videos too, I said I've been 5 or 6 years free and clear of hemorrhoids. That's not necessarily 100% true, in the sense that I have seen some blood and stuff come back, but it's always been because, I went out, I spent a weekend somewhere and I was drinking the whole weekend. or I was, eating just fast food every single day for a week, and they came back. I just got back on some hemorrhoid, took it for a few days, and they were gone. So biggest point is that once they're gone, once you get these all figured out, and plus if you use my product, here's the thing, even if you do those things, and I don't care if you think this is a crazy, just me being a sales pitch here, but like in all honesty, if you get yourself cleared up with let's just say just going the carnivore diet and making a journal, like taking a bottle or two of Hem Hero, and it kind of helping strengthen your veins, it's going to allow you to have a better peace of mind, and it's going to work and keep you hemorrhoid free. So if you're chronic, take it very seriously, as I'm sure you already do. You know how this can just completely decimate your life and rip everything apart, right? So leave a like, a comment, anything you can there. We always get back to everybody, and our customer service is out of control good. When I was a kid of the 70s, so I built my customer service in my company like they did in the 80s. So when you call somebody here in America, they speak English, they're friendly, they're nice, and they'll do anything they can to help you. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you on the next one.